Hey, it's so good to be here today. If you are watching this portion of the video, then you're probably on replay. Even if you're watching on replay, I would love to hear where you're watching from and let me know what interests you more. Hand lettering with paper or hand lettering on the iPad. So today we're going to go into both and I'm going to answer some questions that I've received on what's the difference and a little bit more about how I'm going to walk through how I create a digital version of my lettering that I have done on paper. And so that way you can watch me actually create a digital dust file for the month of, let's see, what are we in? We're in March. So for the month of April. And so as you hop on, let me know that you're here and that where you're watching from. I'm hoping that everything is good and live, but I'm going to double check it really quick. I am on my page, and then I'm going to make sure that I turn my Wi-Fi off on my phone because every now and then, oh no, it's showing a different setting for the live. That is not the way that I wanted it to look. Let me click save, and maybe this will help. Oh no, let's see. Here we go. Much better, much better. Sorry about that beginning part because I had laid it out to look like this. And don't y'all like that better than being so far away? Okay, here we go. All right. And then that way you don't have to see this ugly like camera arm that's right here. Okay, so wonderful. Looks like we're live, and I'm just going to go into it a little bit about what's the difference. Because if you followed this page for a while, then you know I teach how to hand letter on paper for projects that will be used for sign making like this with a paint pen. But I recently released an iPad lettering class. And so there's been some questions like, which one should I get? What do you suggest? And so I'm going to go into the differences and why you would choose one over the other. So if you have a desire to create signs that you will hand letter with, say, a paint pen or even a paint brush, if you go that route, but or you plan to do like, let's see, I've got wood signs, but then I've done chalkboards in the past, and then like this one was done with this method. If your desire is to do hand lettered projects, like physical projects, then I suggest my hand lettering for beginners masterclass. And that breaks down how to hand letter on big projects because you're not going to be able to do brush type lettering on bigger things. You're going to be working with paint pens or sometimes chalk markers and things like that. And if that interests you, then I would say the hand lettering class. And so what are the main differences is that in the hand lettering class with paper, I am teaching you a method that to me, it's the easiest method. Okay. Totally easy. If you say, I kind of want to do everything, I would say to start with hand lettering for beginners masterclass because it's going to break down for you. Hey, Sherry, it's going to break down for you the process of what is hand lettering. So you have calligraphy and then you have hand lettering. So what's the difference in those two? And in regular calligraphy, you are depending on the pressure that you apply to the pen to give you a thicker downstroke. For instance, here's a brush pen. I was about to use this marker, but a brush pen, the harder I press, the thicker that downstroke is going to be. But in this method that I teach, so that's brush lettering. It's a little bit harder. I would not say, you could definitely begin there, but if you start with this method that I use on all my signs, it's much easier. So I'm going to take that same one, but then I'm just going to come in on that downstroke and create the thickness by retracing in a new place. So see the difference there? And it's a lot easier to get your lines not as shaky. Like notice right here, I did that real quick and it's kind of shaky. This is a little smoother. So there's the difference there. But with iPad lettering, it goes, oh, Patty Ann has taken both. Which one did you enjoy more? Oh, I just got a text. Is there a live today? She must not have checked on here yet. I'm going to say, yes, I'm live now. It's a real life friend. Okay. now I'm going to, and I usually have it on Do Not Disturb, so let me do that too. Now I'm going to show you on the iPad. Do Not Disturb. Okay. So I'm going to move over here, and this is the main difference. And y'all, I'm going to turn this that I hand lettered. Did you catch the reel where I posted how I used this to hand letter on that big piece of art? Did y'all catch that reel? Because I saved this to turn it into a digital dust file for April because I loved this verse. So y'all get to watch me do that here in a second. But I'm going to show you, if you're new here and you're like, what, how in the world is she hand lettering on that iPad? I'm going to show you the app that you would need. And I've gotten a lot of questions like, which iPad do I need? And the number one thing you need to look for, and I believe all newer iPads have this ability, but just make sure that your iPad can be compatible with an Apple Pencil. So that's the main thing that you need to know. But I'm going to show you what app I'm using because that's another question. Like, getting in my iPad lettering class isn't quite all you need. You do need to download an app called Procreate. So this is what it looks like. Oop, I'm going to make them all wiggle. This is what the app looks like. And then when I click into it, I already have an artboard open, so it's open here. But you'll have the option to create a new artboard, and I'll walk you through all that in the class. But today I wanted to just show you quickly how different it is. So up here, you have the option for brushes. Now this looks like a little paintbrush, so I'm going to click it. And then there's a brush here called My Favorite Brush. When you join my hand lettering class, I give you this brush that I created that is absolutely amazing for hand lettering in Procreate. So I'm going to click Done. And I'm going to just make sure that that one's toggled, and I tell you where to import it and everything. And then I'm going to use it here. And I want to say this before I continue. When I first started hand lettering on the iPad, I was extremely discouraged. I didn't think I could do a good job. I thought, oh, I'm just going to package this thing up and send it right back because I'll never learn on this app. But there were two things that I did that made it much better for me. First, it was getting a paper-like screen protector. I go over this in the class and give you links to my favorites, and it was a game changer. It doesn't feel like you're writing on glass anymore. It actually feels like, I don't know, it's just that matte. It has to be a matte screen protector. And so that helped a ton. And then I focused on the streamline setting of the brush. I won't go into that a ton because you won't need it if you download the brush that comes with the class. You won't need to really mess with it too much. But watch how smooth this is, and watch I say this and it'll probably have like some kind of glitch or something. But I'm just going to write my name really quick. Oh, let me make it black. Let's see. I have the opacity down on that. Okay, here we go. Gonna do D. And what I'm doing is I am pressing harder on these downstrokes. But you can't really tell. Like, you don't know how I am pressing harder, but it's picking up on that. So it's way faster than that pen and paper method. Hey, Rhonda. And then every time that I went down, I pressed a little harder. So that brush that I give you is pressure sensitive, and it's for calligraphy style lettering. But another way, I feel like I have to kind of like prop it up so it doesn't have that glare on it. Sorry. Another way though is that I can do print letters, but on the downstroke, well, that's not super print, but on those downstrokes, I can press harder. I'm just doing like ABC. And it's just a great brush for the purpose of lettering in this style. So I'm going to clear all this off and let you see it in action. Now, you'll get to watch, if you're a Digital Dust subscriber, this is going to be one of our next month's files. And so what I did, because this is like super janky, you know, it's from whenever I hand lettered that real on the big painting. If you missed that reel, go back and check it out, because this lettering was put at the very bottom of this huge sign. And it was a sign that a friend had brought me to hand letter a scripture on. So what I ended up doing is I took a picture right before this live of this paper laying on my desk. And I want to show you how, if you have both, because Patty Ann said, I really like the non-iPad one first to get the overall gist of how to do things. So let's say you've taken my pen and paper class, and then you want to take it to the next level and do it on the iPad. We're going to bring this in as a photo. I'm going to insert the photo. So that's the picture I took of it. And then I'm going to do something called lowering the opacity, and I go over this step by step in the class, but I'm going to bring that down to where I can see it, but it's very light. And then I add a layer on top of it. And now I can zoom in and I can create a digital version of this lettering. Now, why would you ever want to do this? I do it for my subscribers that want to have an SVG file of it. So I'll then convert this to an SVG file for Cricut's silhouette machines, the vinyl cutting machines. But then also, what if you wanted to create professional art prints? So this is an art print that I created in the Procreate app that I sell on my website. So that, and then what if you wanted to create a sticker? So I created a sticker from lettering that I did on the iPad too. And so then I was able to get these printed in a high quality print. And then this one right here, I created this in Procreate. So not only did I hand letter, I also added in some effects like shadowing effects and things like that. And this is the back. I created that in Procreate as well. So there's so many. I feel like whenever you start out with the beginner's class, there's so much more that can be done from that. So having an iPad really opens up the doors for even more opportunities with lettering. Okay, so now that we have kind of gone over the differences, I'm going to come back in and start lettering. All right, and then notice I have zoomed way in on that picture. And I'm going to bring my brush size down because this one is a little different. It's going to be long and skinny. So I'm zooming in, but let's see. I'm going to kind of check that size real quick. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then if I want to undo it, I just click that button. And this is another thing. It saves a ton of paper. Like you're getting to practice and then erase your mess ups. Okay, don't really like that. And then, but I'm going to make myself continue so that I don't keep y'all here all day. But sometimes, okay, see, this brush is a little big. Sometimes I sit here and tweak for a while, but I don't ever really do it in real time. I mean, on lives. So, okay, I'm going to bring that brush down just a little. And it really helps you get control of, okay, that needs to be a little thicker. Control of your hand, because you're having to really practice on the amount of pressure you apply. So notice I am not having to do what I did with pen and paper where I'm coming in and creating that thickness. I get to, and look, I'm just going to go like this and then watch. I can scrunch it down. So that's fun too. You don't have to stay in the lines. You can squish it down if you need to. But the layout already being done on paper is very helpful. And then I will take this. Let me make sure that I did this on another layer. Okay, because see, what you do is you can turn it off. And then you're left with just your lettering. So I just wanted to make sure that I was in a new layer. That's always key. Hey, Marilyn. And then I am going to keep going. Add that comma. Still, I could probably scoot these over a little. I'll have to cross that T in a moment. Okay. And then I get mesmerized watching people letter on the iPad. How about y'all? Even though I do it myself, like I will get sucked in and watch videos of it sometimes. Yeah. And then again, this is a little bit bigger. I could lower my brush size, but I'm just going to keep it like it is and keep kind of squishing it down if I need to. that. And y'all, I loved the picture that she had me add this to. And she did not want me to put, I mean, she was fine with it, but she was like, me and my husband, they have a lake house. And so the picture that she brought me was like of a beautiful water scene. Hey, Lori. And she wanted it to be signed by Jesus versus having like Matthew, I think it's 11:28. And so instead of Matthew 11:28 as the reference, she had me just sign Jesus's name, and I love that. Lori, I know you're a Digital Dust subscriber. This is going to be the one of the new files for April. Okay, and y'all, this threw me off because I do not spell labor like that, but one thing that she wanted was King James Version. And so if you're watching and you're like, I don't know why she's spelling it that way, that's why the King James Version does spell it that way. I may actually create this in another version too. Let me know, did you grow up with the King James Version of the Bible? That is how I grew up. And so I actually do know some of the memory verses that I know are in King James. Okay, now I'm going to bring this out and see. Here we go. That's how it's looking so far. And I'm going to cross that T real quick. I don't really like that. Look, this is where you can kind of go, I don't really like that. That one's a little better. Okay, so there's the first line. Okay, let's see. I would love to see more classes or you do a class on how to puzzle words together. Okay, so more composition. Now, Patty Ann, did you watch? I know it's not a ton in the class, but I did go over in a section. Oh no, I accidentally erased that. I did go, there's one called lettering layouts. I think it was like 2 or 3 that I did in that, but it kind of walks through a little bit. Let's see. And it just kind of is, I would really call it more of a brainstorming session. And then that looks a little big. Let me see. We're going to get, these are called marching ants. Well, it's actually called the lasso tool, but I call them marching ants. And we're going to put them here and bring that down. And then, anyway, it's like a brainstorming session. I know I did It Is Well With My Soul, but I know that's not very long. And then, I did one that said, the days are long, but the years are short. And y'all, I am feeling that so much right now. Patty Ann said, yes, I watched, but I want more. I get it. And I will say this, Patty Ann, the iPad is a great place to work on layouts because you can write it and then do that lasso thing and then kind of like do the composition that way. And then I have even taken, you see how I am hand lettering my own lettering right now. I have taken other people's composition, and I'm not talking about necessarily like copying them, but taking their layout and changing the words. That is a hack that I love because it's kind of like that work's been done for you, but you're just working on, like, I'll take a scripture that I know I want to hand letter, and then I'll look at someone else's layout and I'll change out the words, but it's like they've done the work on that composition, which is actually one of the reasons I have Digital Dust, because more than just having the SVG file, you get these files. So you can actually, I give you the permission to go in and trace and reuse these compositions for yourself. So if you have a Digital Dust subscription, you're totally good to do that. Patty Ann said, guess I want you to hold my hand. I'm good with that too. Patty Ann, I did not realize until recently that you have a YouTube channel. You have been keeping a secret from me. I am so excited that I found it. You'll have to tell everybody here in the chat about your channel or what your channel is, what all you do on there. Because don't you use a Cricut or do you use a Silhouette? And if so, I would love to see what you create with Digital Dust Designs. Okay, I don't really like that. I did this a little too big, so I'm going to squinch that in. Just got to talking. And then I might make my brush just a tiny bit smaller. Oh, not loving it. I don't know. It's looking weird. Let me see. Maybe I need to zoom in more. Let's see. Okay, I'm just going to move on because I can sit here and tweak it all day. But look how smooth this brush is. It is like my favorite. That's why I named it that. I'm trying to stay on, and see, look, you can come in and add thickness if it's not quite as thick as you want. I'm trying to stay on these letters, but sometimes that doesn't work out great. So, sorry if I'm going too quick. Might need to just scoot this over a little bit. And look, so this gets kind of hairy. I'm going to get all around these letters and hug them. And now I've only selected this portion, kind of scoot it over just a little. There we go. And that'll give me some more room to let her give you rest. Okay. Yes, Jan. This is, oh yes, Rhonda. I actually have that in the class and I never use it. Rhonda said, tip, you can do 2 fingers to undo. And I teach that and do not use it. Why do I do that? That's so funny because it's just, I've never really gotten myself in the habit of it. And so, I don't know. Old habits die hard, and I'm just used to clicking that back button every time. I'm just going to have to keep going and see where I end up so that I don't keep y'all here all day. I'm going bigger than what I was. So why can't I fit that quite the same? And I will give you, okay, I'm going to see what it looks like after I squish this down. All right, let's see what y'all are saying. Yes, oh, Jan, sorry. It's an app for the iPad called Procreate. And I will show again real quick what it looks like. So I'm going to click out of it. Looks just like that right there with the, I guess it's a brush mark. But when I click it, that's where I am. Okay, and then I'm going to keep going with rest. But look, this is good. This is what I deal with whenever I'm creating files. It's exactly how I work with them. I just keep on squishing and scooting and making it work. Okay, I don't like this, so I'm actually going to take this 3-finger swipe down will reveal all of these for me, and I'm just going to cut it and just get it going, and then keep going. But see, look, I do that. I do the 3-finger, but I go back over there. Isn't that funny, Rhonda? Okay. Okay, Patty Ann said it's about Cricut and Silhouette mostly now, and now, mostly now I've been doing embroidery. Oh my goodness, you're like a creative person that probably can do all the things. I love it, Patty Ann. I'm going to hide that one too. Okay. I don't know. I'm running out of room. There I did a different kind of S. Maybe that'll save me some. There we go. And then I'll make that rest a little bit smaller. Okay, I got some more King James Version people here. And then let's see. I know, Jamie, I love this one too. I do, because here's the thing. Come to me, all you that labor and are heavy laden. You know, before Christ and the feeling like you have to do. Like you have to, there's a sense that I'm not good enough. I have to earn it. And Jesus says, come to me. I've done it all. I love it, love it, love it. That we can go to him and rest, and that it's not about striving after salvation. He did what we could not do, and he paid what we could not owe. So here is, what we could not pay. He paid what we owed that we would never be able to pay. All right, let me set my pen down, and I'm going to show y'all. Now that was the picture of this if you're just tuning in. And I'm going to take that layer and undo it. And now I have this revealed. I still, now that I can look at it from a distance, I still am not, there's a couple things I would like to change. That word all, I'm going to march around it. And just make it a little bit smaller. I was going to add in the, but I changed my mind. And so here I can take this and I can look around and say, what needs to be tweaked? I don't know. I don't really think I should have done that. Maybe not. I think, what do y'all think? Does it look pretty balanced? I feel like unto and over here, this and might be a little big. So this is what I do after I create your move R down. Okay. Sounds good. When I'm creating your digital dust files. Okay, so I've got it. Yeah, I agree. It was up a little too high. How's that? And then sometimes I will take this, I will lower the opacity of it, add a layer on top of it, and then come and rework it again. So it's not always one pass, but it's a great starting point. So then I'm going to make that, and then watch this. If I take away the background, this is now a transparent PNG where I can then, or I add it, and then I can convert this lettering into an SVG for the silhouette and the Cricut machines. So are there any Cricut machine silhouette users here right now? And the reason I say that is I originally started Digital Dust for Cricut users that didn't have, like maybe they didn't know how to hand letter, but they wanted hand lettering on their products or, you know, projects in general. And then I've actually had a lot of people that join Digital Dust not for that purpose at all. I also offer, whenever you have the opacity down, I offer this as a PDF file so they can print it out and trace it. So I actually have a lot of people that join just for traceables. Hey Felicia. And then they can either practice on their iPad with it to trace over it, or they can print it out and do hand lettering, like on paper. So those are the differences. I know that was a lot to take in a day. So we worked on how they're different and which one you would choose depending on what your desires are. So if you want to create more like artwork style, that would be your Procreate, or practice in the iPad, like just get your practicing down, then I suggest the iPad lettering class. And if you comment iPad, and maybe that's the only thing, y'all. These keywords set up, I probably shouldn't have chosen the word iPad. I probably should have picked something a little more different, because if you comment iPad on my page, you're going to get a link to the iPad lettering class. So sorry for those of you that get those and that's not what you're asking for. I'm not trying to continually sell you on these things. If you send me a message or something and you're like, look what I made on my iPad, and then you get an iPad link to your messenger, that's not my intent. It's just a bot that helps me. It helps me out. It's like a little assistant. And so sorry for the overlap there. But then if you are more into wanting to learn on paper first, you can comment beginner, and that will give you the link to the beginner class. Lori says, you're horrible with the lasso. I make a layer for pretty much each word. Hey, that's actually not a bad idea, is to create a layer for each word that you do. And then you wouldn't have to worry about lassoing it, because you can just select all in that layer and squish it down or make it, bigger. So very cool. All right. Well, that was like a little tip that you gave us, Lori. I appreciate that. I am going to go today, and I am so thankful for you that were here, and I'm so excited for you to dive into lettering. If you have any more questions before you join either of the classes, feel free to send me a message, and I'm more than happy to answer anything that you have. And Rhonda said, what's a good common size? So when you are talking about on the iPad, I do 8.5 by 11, because then I don't know if y'all saw last week, but you can take that 8.5 by 11 and break it up with a website called Block Poster. So you can make them really, really big too. But I always start out with 8.5 by 11 just because it's the size of paper. That's the only reason I do that. Now, when I am hand lettering in the iPad, say for like this big Hobby Lobby sign that I did, I think I did 16 by 20 for that. And one of the things in the iPad class that I'm going to talk to you about is creating with high resolution. Because when I first started licensing my artwork, I was sending in artwork that was not able to be scaled. And that was super annoying because I had done all this work. And then when I sent it to them, they were like, yeah, we're trying to blow this up and it's just not good quality. So I kind of give you a shortcut there, because if you want to be able to create artwork that can be scaled or printed, you want to make sure you're creating in high resolution. And the I think it's the first lesson. It's called canvases, and it tells you what settings to put your canvases on for the highest quality. I'll tell you, if you already have Procreate and maybe you already know how to use it, but that's something you're confused about. You want to have 300 DPI, which stands for dots per image. I was creating, if you do not change it, it will automatically be on 72 DPI. So you can imagine the difference between 72 and 300. When they would try to scale it, it was just too pixelated. So that's something to consider, is definitely like change that, because if you are in Procreate and you just open a canvas, it's not going to be set to 300. It'll be set to 72. So okay, Felicia said she took, look, I just realized I could do this. I didn't know I could do that up until now. I mean, actually, it happened at the end of my last live. I clicked on one of your comments and it popped up over there. And I've seen people do that before on their pages, but I never knew how to do it. I was like, oh, that's how you do that. So that's what Felicia says. Okay, great. Well, Sherry, I'm so glad that you were here. Thank you for watching. And I will see y'all 12:30 next week. That's my goal, 12:30 Central. How about this time change? I did good, though. I'm here on time today. But I will see y'all next week with something else to letter. All right, talk to you later. Bye.